so I'm theoretically live. Wait and see, but theoretically. Mic is on, and it is both. Well, it's sending it out to Twitch. I was going to say both sending it out to Twitch and recording. Oh, I'm audible. Excellent. Welcome. All right. Welcome once again to the Monday night SciFiAIguy stream, in which, as per usual, I play science fiction games that have an AI element to them and try and discuss it from something resembling an academic standpoint. We have, oh wonderful, we've got Place of Old, we've got Crafty, we've got Combi 2K, excellent, starting strong. Combi is stuck in Ad Town, but, you know, we've all been there. You'll get through it, I believe in you. And the music for 2064 has actually been pretty good, but it is wearing thin, so frankly I would rather be listening to Elder Scrolls, probably. Well, it depends. I don't have any stored affection for any of those scrolls, irrespective of their age, so. I just missed the boat on that one. I was busy playing KOTOR, and KOTOR took up a lot of my time, on the RPG front at least. I reckon growing up, I mean, you know, air quotes growing up, when I actually bothered to play, when I actually had access to and then played RPGs as a youth. Yeah, KOTOR and KOTOR 2. KOTOR 1 got a few replays. KOTOR 2 did not, because of how janked that whole game is. But, yeah. And I mean, you know, this was BioWare, if I'm not mistaken. This was a Star Wars game that literally used the D&D 3rd edition or 3.5 rules. The stats, the feats, it was all very recognisable. So I had a great time. Also, it was just, you know, super cool. Combat was, nah, who cares, but the rest of it was fantastic. Great way to piss away time. Place of Old saying the music from Deadpool is legit. See, I have yet to see this new Deadpool, and I'm trying to interrogate myself about it, because it's not that I don't want to, but I don't have a lot of drive to. It could just be where I'm at right now, that if it was a brand or a concept that I had a higher stored affection for, I would already have seen it, or would be more upset that I hadn't seen it. So I think this just proves that while Deadpool is interesting to me, it's not the be-all and end-all. And we've got Deadpool on Blu-ray around here somewhere, and we haven't even taken off the wrap. You haven't unwrapped a Blu-ray, it's a pretty clear sign that you wanted to own it, but you didn't necessarily need to rewatch it, right? Oh, okay, there's an entire song that is just holy shit balls. Literally they sing holy shit balls over and over again. See, and that does sound interesting, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just this, maybe it's winter Ryan Morrison, who is slightly more dulled to the idea of specific stimulus. The simple draw card that he looks at the camera sometimes and swears a bit isn't enough. And don't get me wrong, I loved the first one. I had a great time. There was room for it to be shitty. And it wasn't shitty, it was great. But it doesn't have a lasting greatness for me, I think. So the sequel, again, yeah, I mean, we had plans. We were going to go see it. We just didn't, and I don't really care. Again, winter Ryan Morrison. Who knows? Who knows? A very different movie from the first one. Okay, Place. Interesting. Interesting. Combi streamed the movie. Well, of course you did, you filthy criminal. Alright, well, let's do it. Let's play the game. Let's get into it. It's 7:06. I've burned away the requisite 5 minutes. Saves. Alright, choose slot. So we want the furthest chapter 4. Fetch quest. Fetch quest 3. Okay. I don't remember what we were going to do. Oh, no. No, I kind of remember. So we just ditched the youth. So the youth ditched us. I think they had curfew. So they're gone, which is fine. They're welcome to leave and do whatever they like. But this was after they had helped us obtain a thing and then put this thing behind a arcade machine. Yeah, no, it's the poster. Yeah, so we've arranged a switcheroo of resources. What we're trying to get is stuff for somebody fleeing. Who was fleeing? Someone's fleeing. Interesting. Cannot recall. Anyway, we're trying to... No, that's right. The dude from the park. Dude in the park is on the lam. We're getting him an ID, money, and a car. Right now we're doing the ID part. We've already got the money, and then the car is going to happen at some point along the way. Because I remember screaming about how if we're asking some hideous plutocrat for money, why we couldn't ask for, on top of that money, a car and ID. Or just money for a car and ID. We can even run around and do it. Apparently we're quite cool with that, but no. We couldn't ask her to fund the operation on top of funding a huge portion of the rest of the operation. That would just be unseemly. Let's do it. We are apparently very close to chapter 5, I believe. So we've got to be careful with our saves. But yeah, let's go in and see who's got an ID for us. So VIP bouncer. These people are familiar. I don't actually remember this person, but we're going for the speed run. Gets closed off for special nights and events, but usually it's so busy there's no point in waiting to get in. Okay, so we left it behind here. Now what? If we talk to the bartender. I like Majid.
Hey friends, what can we get for you?
Nope, that's all for now.
Later, you two.
Bye-bye.
What about you, Gus?
Oh, hey there. Do you need something?
Yeah, fake ID. Nope, I'm good.
Later, you two.
Bye-bye.
No VIP access today.
Okay, you're on the complete other side of the bar, but that's fine.
Today's my last day off before the holidays, but I can't seem to stay away.
Very well.
I love vintage game experiences. Have you ever heard of Overblood?
Let's talk to Jess.
Oh, look. It's my favorite human and the mechanical sidekick. I'm caught up in something at the moment. Chances are we'll cross paths again.
Okay. I have no idea what I'm meant to be doing right now. You know what? Let's leave. Let's go to the map. No, I'm where I need to be. Do I still have the ID card, super spud mill, headphones, medium range electrolaser, brochure, a brick, briefcase of credits, an umbrella. Okay. I'm literally where I need to be. Shake the car. Okay. A 2062 Ziz CR Coupe. CR4 Coupe. Perfect for letting everyone know you spent a fortune of credits on a car. So, do I have to boost a car? No, I've used these items on the car before. That's not going to be it. Old place of old. Watching but correcting report comments. Absolutely, that's fine. You are a busy individual. I completely understand. What about this person? Is it you? I need more hot tips. Okay, so those. No, I'm not going to play that. No. Do I have to play Megaphobator? Oh no, I just had to. Okay.
Here the passports are, just as advertised. Now we need to find a car.
It was so Jess. It was so Jess that
Jess
that
is
did it.
right over there. Perhaps she may know someone who can lend a hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I feel like I
Well,
patched it up with
prepare
Jess. I'm going to do the
yourself.
talking.
If Jess is the worst thing we have to face down this week, I'll consider us lucky.
I thought we were good with Jess now. I thought this was just her style. I thought this was just who she is as a
Did you
person.
find your guy? Or wait, let me guess. There's something else you need from me. Well, you haven't been terrible to deal with so far, so I'm willing to hear you out. Barely.
Okay.
We need access to an untraceable car. An informant of ours needs to get out of the city without attracting the attention of Parallax, and is offering valuable information to us in exchange.
Seriously? Jesus, what kind of shit is in your life anyway?
Whatever the writers
Actually,
say.
don't answer that. I don't want to be legally liable.
No,
I'm
you
not
just
sure
want to steal
why
us
you
for
think just
untraceable
because
car.
I defend a few folks in the rougher parts of the city that I would have that kind of connection. And even if one of my clients did run a carjacking business, it's not like society is clamoring to give hybrids legal jobs. Regardless, I'm not going to be an accessory to a felony, or let one of my clients be either.
Okay.
I won't go down that path. I wouldn't know where to start anyway.
I'm going to go the nice option. Is there any possible way you could give us any kind of lead at all?
I know we're reaching, but this is important.
I know the plot is reaching, but
You
this
just
is
don't
important.
quit, do you? Okay, let me think. This might be a long shot, but you could try asking Majid. There are rumors he may have been involved in some shady stuff way back in the day.
Huh. All right.
He'll probably be reluctant to talk about it, but there's a free lead for you. Get me another drink in exchange, will you? Later.
Huh. That went better than expected.
What did you
I
expect?
wonder if my charm is starting to pay off for us. Oh, you performed admirably as well. Onward we go.
Thanks. Thanks, you. Alright. Majid.
Hey, friends. What can we get for you?
One car, please.
We were hoping you could give us a little information.
Sure, but first, let's get you a drink. What'll it be?
Power play, Antarctic Harvest, Sour Apple Teeny, drinking game. It's just got to be drinking game. I love
Coming
drinking
right
games.
up. I'll ask Gus if I don't know what it is. He's better with the weird kind of stuff people ask for these days. Some of these cocktails make me need a spa day.
Ooh,
This one is...
A surprise. You never know what it's going to taste like. Tender's choice. Take a sip every time you overhear something funny, or you can set your own rules. I would set better rules than that. I mean, it's not the worst rule I've heard, at least.
Does
But
that
nice.
sound good?
Yeah, give it to me.
Here you go. So, what did you need help with?
we've run into a roadblock in our search for Hayden.
Help, roadblock.
Word on the street is that he's gone missing, which I'm sure you already know. What can I do?
This entire game has been predicated on the fact that he's
Yes.
missing.
An informant of ours needs secure transportation out of the city, but we don't have any contacts who would be able to get us an untraceable car. Jess mentioned that you used to engage in certain extra-legal activities. Perhaps
I mean-
you could point us towards someone who could help?
That is the right, like, my first response to the term extra legal is that it doesn't sound outside of legal, it just sounds additionally legal, like more legal than anything else. But upon interrogation, no, I get what they, but yeah. If a word doesn't land at first blush, it possibly isn't your best choice. But
He doesn't do
this
that
wasn't written
kind of
specifically for
stuff
me,
anymore.
so
Right. Sorry, friends. I left that life behind a long time ago. Don't really keep in touch with that crew anymore.
Ah, of course. Completely understandable. Sorry to bother you then.
Well, no harm in asking, right? My reputation precedes me.
Don't let it go to your head.
Gus, I need to go to the back and gather up stuff to restock for the rush later on. Mind manning the bar for me?
Take your time. I think I can keep things under control.
Thanks. Love you, hun.
No. Trot, trot, trot.
Well, that leaves us at a dead end.
No, we follow him, idiot.
Any ideas on how... some nose-to-the-ground journalist techniques for finding leads?
Oh, okay. He's actually just... Right. Tomcat seems a strong play. I feel like Tomcat's the way to go. Combi recommending, and Place of Old recommending spoiled milk. Combi specifically saying that I should ask Jess if she's a cat again. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, Tomcat.
No.
I'm surprised we didn't go to...
Tomcat has already stuck their neck out for us too often. I feel a little bad about how much we relied on them as it is. And besides, this is a considerably more felonious action. Morally, we should be dirtying our own hands.
You just twist in the wind whichever... Turing, you are inconsistent. You are inconsistently written. Okay, so yeah, we're meant to be following Majid, but the joke is that neither me nor Turing realize that. So we're going to go through several loops of this conversational tree until Gus says, go meet Majid. Or Gus, gives us a car. Let's find a manual.
That's not the worst idea. I don't think it would get noticed as long as the car had the appropriate registrations. But the permits to operate a manual vehicle are prohibitively expensive. A casual collector might still maintain one, but only a wealthy hobbyist would have the appropriate stickers to make the car roadworthy. We'd have to do a B&E, as Chad put it before. Risky.
No. Okay, the two of you are killing me here. Look, don't tell Majid about this. But... here.
Carjacking device added to items.
What is this, Gus?
A device for the jacking of cars.
It's an automated vehicle maintenance scanner, with a few less than standard upgrades.
I keep it in my pocket while I'm standing behind the bar.
When you circumvent its security codes, you can use it to scan a car's installed firmware and replace it with a new set that will spoof its presence on the city's network. That's the gist of it, but we don't have time to get into any specifics. You need to get the hell out of here with that before Majid gets back.
Why the urgency?
Look, Majid has done a lot to turn his life around, to turn my life around. I really respect that about him, and it's part of why I fell in love with him. He did what I was never able to. That's how we met, that old rough and tumble life we both led. But when Stardust struggled and needed money fast, I had to get back in the game to keep us afloat for a few years. I told him it was all angel loans, donations from patrons, lots of things. He'd be heartbroken if he found out I'm still in the game.
Yeah.
I had to do whatever I could to keep our new life, even if only one of us is really living it.
Jeez.
I may as well give this thing to someone who wants to use it for good, too.
I can't tell you how much we appreciate this, Gus. We might finally be on our way to solving this mystery.
You've been saying that for a while, Turing.
Well, you didn't get it from me, okay? Just get out of here and get on with your little Grand Theft Auto. And let me know how it goes, okay?
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Enjoy a drink.
Huh. Actually did it, huh? Well, you scored a point. But don't think I don't have enough cuties around who can handle that. You've got more important things to be doing. Get a move on.
Yeah, I'd love to. I just thought I would do the nice thing. Now, here's my question. I'm gonna save. I don't think I'm gonna poke and prod to an overt degree. What I want to do, I'm just gonna put in Majid. I'm gonna check the conversation tree to see if there is a tell the truth moment. Or I prod. Right, you know, I mean, it's the shitty option to just be like, hey Majid, guess what just happened? So I want to see if this game has it as an allowable, because that tells me what the writers think about
what can we get for you?
This sort of interaction, right? Ah, okay, yep, there's room here to lead, and I'm not going to do that because it is their business.
Later, you two.
And of course, you know,
Bye-bye.
we're meant to be running around doing something incredibly serious at the moment. I mean, it's an adventure game, but so
Well,
far.
now I think we're cooking with gas, as the colloquialism goes. I'm searching the mesh for instructions on how to use this device as we speak. Let's go look for some likely candidates. I should be ready by then.
Okay, I mean, not this one.
Oh, rats! This car has the wrong firmware installed.
Wah wah. Alright.
We won't be able to install our new firmware over top of it.
Dang.
We'll have to check another car.
Okay, well, there's cars outside the Hassie. So not the menu. Barpawoo. Where is it? No! I did it again. Okay. Actually the right. Okay, man. Cool. Alright. Yeah, Market Street. Hospital's not good. That could be okay. Mansion didn't have any. GG Park, no. Yeah, okay, cool. So it's... Let's go here. Oh, hang on, were there cut? No, yep, okay, there is. It's fucking boosted.
Oh no! How did the alarm get set off? Did I do something wrong? Let's get out of here before someone contacts the authorities.
Alright. Stay in the car. It is. Alright. Well, to the corp. This UI. Alright.
Success! This
Yay!
vehicle has the appropriate firmware version.
I wonder if it was a third time's the charm test.
Someone has been neglecting their regularly scheduled updates. Give me a moment to get everything installed. There. There are some other options here I can fool around with. Ah, interesting. I can put in preset destination plans for a future date.
Okay.
Why don't we go ahead and set a plan for the car to return to this spot in a week?
Oh, okay.
That's more than enough time for Mr. Mensa to get away.
I see.
Now we aren't really stealing the car.
Well, we totally are. We're just returning it afterwards. Also, don't we want Mr. Mensa to set that date? I mean, and also, couldn't he just change? Well, I guess you are a
More like
computer brain hacker
borrowing
person.
without asking.
So theft. I feel better already. I'm not sure the police would agree. What are you? Okay. Yeah.
Obviously,
Duh.
the car will drive itself to Golden Gate Park, and we can show Mr. Mensa where it is when we meet him.
We're not gonna.
There. Everything should be set up now.
I'm not gonna drive it over.
Mr. Mensa is waiting for us at Golden Gate Park. We have everything he requested, so we should head back there directly.
All right. Okay, saving here. Cool. Will do. Will do. All right. Okay. I think that one is a reasonable one to save over. Well, if I ever want to check that conversation, yeah, nah, I'll save here. End save. So we are saving because of multiple endings. We want to make sure we put our foot in the door in case any of these... Let's check that save, actually. Yep, cool. In case we get an ending that sucks, in case I get a sudden burst of energy and decide to put you all through, or indeed just put myself through, the other potential endings instead of just reading about them online. Yeah, it's good to have options. Alright, map. To the park. GG. Sup? No, I don't have the items. Let's just talk about the items.
Hey, did you manage to get everything?
Is this a sting?
We did.
It's a sting operation,
Here
isn't
you
it?
go, Vincent.
I'm about to get clopped. No?
Everything seems to be in order. Here.
Hayden's research added to items. Alright.
This disc has all of Hayden's research notes, data collation algorithms, and probably lots on your creation, Turing.
Place of Vault asking if we're ending tonight. I don't know. It genuinely depends on how long this last chapter takes, because previously chapters have taken a while. I was, however, grinding every screen for every last bit of detail and also reading lots of things aloud. So to be fair, in my attempt to full complete areas as I went through them, also, you know, I was taken over by their charm and found it very interesting. Yeah, I was extending the playtime of the game, I would say. So it's entirely possible that trying just to get the meaty plot elements, we could get through the ending tonight. I mean, we've got, you know, another hour and a half if I play till 9, so this could be it. And then I'll have to find another game before next week. Well, realistically, I would be looking at the softer playthrough of Soma, or the expansion for Talos Principle. But yes, possibly. Oh, 2. Okay. 2 chapters left. All right. Yeah, probably not tonight then.
It should be everything myself and Melody agreed upon. Until she added an amendment while you were out. Frankly, it's no skin off my back. Here.
Parallax badge added to items.
It's my Parallax employee badge. It should allow you access to their networks in case there's anything I've missed.
Nice. All right.
You'll want to use that sooner rather than later. I'm not wasting any time leaving, and Parallax is pretty fast to revoke security. There's no way Hayden's clearance still works. And with that, I'm going to get the hell out of this country.
Okay.
The credit should tide me over until the heat dies down and I liquefy my shares through some relays.
What about the big project?
I suppose I owe you that much. Buckle up. This could get heavy.
Okay.
Parallax is about to launch a new service they're calling Big Blue. At least, that's the project name. Who knows what the marketing guys will come up with for the public?
They haven't named the project yet?
They're not even announcing the launch. This shit is dead quiet. Let me explain why. It's a distributed intelligence. Like, okay, in every way that Hayden built Turing to be elegant, efficient, and human-like, Big Blue is ham-fisted, bloated, and sterile.
How so?
They didn't pull Hayden into the project. He's smart, but he's immune to corporate politics. As a result, Big Blue is far less elegant than anything Hayden would make. It lacks his artistry, and it's downright terrifying.
Okay, so it's a poorly done AI, and that makes it scary? Why?
It squats on the mesh like a spider and uses the spare processing power and memory from every ROM on the network to handle its intelligence processing.
Okay.
It doesn't have much personality, but it's very smart.
Okay. Why... I'm interested why it doesn't have much personality. Given that Hayden's approach... So is the point here that because Hayden went for a human-like artistic approach, Turing has personality, but Big Blue, because it's supposedly ham-fisted, doesn't? Even though it's very intelligent, is it not self-aware? What are we looking at
Big
here?
Blue is going to be embedded directly into the network and then self-modify to apply even more efficient algorithms as it develops them in machine time.
I'm also I'm putting a pin in the fact that he mentioned spider as a descriptor for a few obvious reasons. Because I mean, it's called the mesh here, but obviously we have the internet or the net. Or the web, and spiders, webs, blah 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 blah. It's not a new connection, and it's evocative and it works. Also, spiders are scary, right? But this also ties in, at least for me, it could be pulled as a parallel with the concept of something being allohuman. So, when talking about, there's a theorist, J. Storrs Hall, who came up with what he called the kinds of minds framework that I've lent on a few times, probably more times than he ever intended, and certainly in the wrong discipline. But he ranked potential intelligences in terms of their potential AI intelligences in terms of where they sit in comparison to human. So I won't go through all of them, but in terms of just raw intelligence, he was bracketing them in terms of basically below human, like human, as smart as like 10 humans, and then as smart as 1,000 humans, right? This sort of exponential loop up. But then he also had parahuman and allohuman. And the idea was that parahuman is an AI that understands human emotion. Whether it has them is debatable, but it at least understands and can recognize the human perspective, right? So Turing would be parahuman. And he's parahuman to the extent that he has very human emotions and is going through very human things over the course of this story, like grieving the loss of his father, etc., etc. By mentioning that Big Blue is allohuman, it's bringing it in as, by saying that Big Blue is spider-like, I should say. I mean, and this was a throwaway remark, so this is not something I'm leaning on heavily, but I find this interesting, and I'm curious to see if they go with it. Especially saying it doesn't have much personality. So allohuman is if an AI has a completely unrecognizable brain, or personality or mental structure, basically. Which, I mean, statistically, Eliezer Yudkowsky made a great point about how in the phase space of all potential intelligences, humans only, one tiny corner compared to all the different kinds of intelligences that potentially could exist. And because of that massive phase space, the idea that an AI would be like us and would think like us, particularly given that it lacks the same origins in so many ways, is a bit ridiculous. So yeah, if this is a truly alien mind, Big Blue, that would be really interesting and cool. I don't buy that they'll do that because of the writing. I think it will be said to lack a personality, but what personality it does have will just be evil. That's my guess. But it could surprise me. And I'm happy to be surprised. I'm not against being surprised. But yeah, I thought I would pop that in there.
Look, if you access every ROM, then you have access to every human and every bit of their own personal data associated with them.
Yes. Did they not already? Was that not... Why would Parallax be worried enough to get rid of Hayden? How did Parallax know about Turing? How will Big Blue impact Parallax's business? I'm curious about all of this.
I don't want you to take what I'm saying the wrong way. And this is just me putting the pieces together. Hayden was about to publish his creation of Turing. His findings, as I'm sure you're aware of, would have raised many moral and ethical questions about the advent of machine intelligence. I mean, some of the brightest minds ever have tried to warn humankind away from building real AI. Hawking, Musk, Gates, and the list goes on.
Oh dear. I'll credit Hawking and Gates there, but I think putting Musk in there is I mean, he's warned people, but yeah, I think promoting him to one of the greatest minds is a tad rich.
The public is likely to be nervous, and legislators even more so. Parallax is banking on being able to launch Big Blue quietly and quickly before the public has a chance to react.
Okay, so Turing brings up that AI is possible, and if they've been put together in similar ways. I mean, this game, is positing that there is a way to do it. Turing highlights that way as possible, and so people might recognize that within what is going on with what Parallax is doing on the mesh. Okay.
Before any counter movement can pick up steam.
And I don't mind that as a
Every eye
plot.
on the discovery of machine intelligence works against Parallax.
Yeah. No, I like that. I
Every
think
new
that's
discovery
cool. I think
only
that's
serves
cool.
to paint Big Blue as more controversial, more dangerous. Honestly, they probably pressured Hayden to drop his research so that they could keep the public away from the subject. He clearly refused.
Okay, so how did Parallax know about Turing?
I'm only assuming they found out. His contract with Parallax affords him the freedom to work on his own academic projects outside of the company in his free time. He kept a trusted few of us up to date on his progress, bouncing ideas off us and whatnot. It's exciting stuff. Both Turing and Hayden's eventual goal down that road. I wouldn't be surprised if word of it got up to the board and made him nervous. Is the possibility that someone on the inside talked too far-fetched?
I knew it all along. Hayden fell into trouble because of my existence.
Well, because he made you.
That's not what I want your takeaway to be.
Yeah.
Hayden wasn't working on Big Blue. Knowing him, your creation might have been his clever way to stop it.
Okay. Yeah, if that is indeed the thought process, that the existence of Turing and the public knowledge of Turing would preempt a scare about Big Blue. I mean, Turing isn't scary, so that could backfire, right? If Turing turns up, and yeah, it raises the moral and ethical quandaries, but if Turing is like, hey, no, wait, I'm cool. Look, and my creator says that I'm cool. Look how cool I am. Unless Hayden was going to throw him under the bus, PR-wise. Yeah, that could be taken two ways. It could be legitimately, okay, here's an AI, we need to be scared about that. Or it could be, oh, look at this cute, blue-faced little creature. AI ain't so bad. And then Parallax is like, yeah, AI isn't so bad. And then Big Blue is unveiled and nobody gives a shit.
I can't really give you a good answer to that.
Shit, because I forgot what the question was. Oh well.
I mean, the company is currently handled by a dozen server farms, running thousands of different algorithms with hundreds of people tweaking things every day. When Big Blue launches, it'll handle all of that by itself. And there are shadier applications for it. I mean, if you can collate and analyze data and queries in the mesh in real time, what's to stop you from delivering the content you want rather than what the user wants?
Okay, yeah.
The potential for abuse is staggering. We're talking direct control of the information accessible to everyone who uses Parallax's services.
Right, so it's beyond the traditional corporate monopoly in that it is a structural monopoly wherein the entire structure, the entire infrastructure is owned and controlled by Parallax / Big Blue. Okay.
That's something like 80% of the market. They could control elections, push the market in directions they want, even influence public opinion. All just by asking Big to do it. It's scary stuff.
So far I haven't heard what's scary about Big Blue as an intelligence. I've heard what's scary about Big Blue as a program. Like, it's a scary concept to have this program doing this thing. I mean, and they're equating in this narrative, and indeed many others do the same thing, equating a program to an intelligence. They're saying that, you know, they programmed a sapient entity. But so far, its sapience hasn't been the point of discussion. It's just been the fact that it is a powerful tool for a corporation to have. I'm not trying to denigrate that power. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop on
They
that
scrapped
axis.
the prototype Baby Blue because it started doing that on its own.
Yep, okay. Well, there we go.
What do you mean? It started doing what?
Manipulating the mesh. They made its self-preservation imperatives too strong, and Baby Blue started changing search results to be more friendly towards the idea of an AI.
Okay, so this is right. So this is the stuff we saw about the news articles.
When the board found out, they pulled the plug on it. That must have been a year or so ago. They tweaked Big Blue so it wouldn't do the same thing, but it can self-modify. given a good enough reason, it might decide to find a way around those limitations.
Yeah, okay.
Having that kind of control would be a hell of a card for Parallax's hand. They'll go to pretty significant lengths to make sure it works.
I mean, he also said that it lacks a personality. It could be that it isn't sapient at all, or that sapience is draped over it later as a sort of plot element, but realistically this is a conversation about AI technology as we have it now in the contemporary world of 2018, right? Because what he's talking about are, you know, not illegitimate concerns about having programs basically too clever for their own boots and doing stuff that you don't want them to do beyond your control because you gave the program too much control and because it learns from... Yeah, it learns, right? Learns and modifies, self-modifies and what have you. Yeah, it's sort of trying to do two things at once, and I'm interested to see if it can resolve that in a clean way.
Hey, no problem. I've had enough of this cutthroat corporate bullshit for several lifetimes. We haven't talked much, but I do believe you can find Hayden. I hope his research notes help you out. Be sure to let Turing help. She's a bright little bot.
I think Turing goes by they. I think Turing goes by they, yeah.
Oh, slip of the tongue. I was just more familiar with Hayden's previous experiment, Grace. She was very insistent on things like that.
I've been meaning to ask, Turing, since you asked me, how would you like to be addressed?
Well, honestly, I don't think I've made my mind up yet. I'm still a very new being. I'm not even positive that gender as a human concept can be applied identically to machine. But I do enjoy the idea in abstract.
I mean, that's a completely valid point, and I mean, that's as valid a point as looking at how we've... Like, this game has applied tons of human concepts, abstract human concepts, to a machine. Because we've been told that the machine was programmed by a human, and thus, you know, oh, it feels sad, and blah, I feel things in my circuits, right? But then when we get to gender, it starts going, well, it's a bit abstract, and I'm not sure about that. And I'm glad that it is at least muddying the water about binary gender, and in this world, you know, binary gender is much less of a deal, because you've got people who are, you know, their pronouns are they, and that's just 2 thumbs up, everybody's fine with it, which is great. It's just interesting that Turing is a bit multimodal on this front. Like, making great points here, but then other points when it comes to, you know, human concepts. Turing just has them, unquestioningly, because he's, you know, he's a real boy. Yeah, well...
I will continue to consider how I wish to be referred to as well. Until then, feel free to go with what you feel. If I had to make a choice, perhaps they is most appropriate. Most people assume it, obviously, but he is also consistently used. Perhaps it's because I'm blue?
Oh my god. I'm listening to a machine postulate on how it wants to be referred to. Like us.
Just like us.
What have you done indeed, Hayden? Good luck, to both of you.
Thank you, Mr. Mensa.
Yeah, be safe. Yeah, wow.
I need a few minutes.
Yeah, so do I, actually. Yeah, a lot to unpack there. Especially given that conversation. So what I just said about Big Blue feeling very much like a discussion about, you know, machine learning, questions about, you know, ethical use of the technology we have today, and Turing being a philosophical treatise on if a machine is self-aware and sapient, how's that going to be, what's that going to be like, how's that going to be managed, etc., etc., etc. And this game has largely just said, well, you know, Turing is incredibly human-like, and the talks are largely about, say, rights or what have you. Yeah, right now those two streams aren't connecting. And Mensa being super impressed that Turing was talking about, you know, how they want to be referred to, and Mensa lacking that awe at Big Blue's incredibly powerful and influential nature. And it's interesting. The other thing as well that I wanted to bring up is the plot choice of Big Blue being able to massage articles and data and things like that, and sending us on what felt like a goose chase, like the wildest of goose chases about things that were completely tangential to real aims that we had that now turn out to be relevant. So I think that kind of thing, it's actually very common in detective fiction, crime fiction, to have multiple small cases, like a main case and then like a B or C plot, and then you're sort of stumbling through them. They feel like a bit of a palate cleanser, or just proof that the detective does other things with their time, or maybe you don't quite know what the case is yet, and there's just a few different things on the burner, and then it all sort of comes together at the end, and you realize, oh, it's all the same interconnected plot, because why wouldn't it be? This game did not give that impression, and did not allow for that step back and wondering about that, at least for me, because there was such gravity with Turing and Hayden. And so for us to be chasing another plot point was kind of harmful to my enjoyment of the game and to my understanding of what was even going on. To bring it back now, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what they were going for there. But I think they presented it wrong. Or maybe they shouldn't have done that kind of thing in a game that had such high and deep emotional stakes, right? Yeah. Alright, I'm going to have a quick scroll through chat, see what I've missed. Have a sip of a beverage. Watch the tumbleweeds go by, newspaper tumbleweeds. Oh, Crafty Devious, this was made a few years ago when Musk looked more like a visionary and less like a dangerous megalomaniac. Yeah, that's a good point, timing-wise. I mean, I didn't think any ill of Musk a couple years back, so yeah. That's reasonable. I didn't know any better. It is funny, though, that he, being a tech giant business-wise and backing a lot of stuff, and having done his readings, he can strike people as being intelligent, maybe an expert to some degree, but he's the bankroller. Like, he's a visionary in that he runs things well and puts things together well and looks at things and goes, okay, we need to back this, even if it's bucking trends in the market, because he's got the money and the push to go, okay, let's just make luxury electric cars and push the market in that direction. And that's, in terms of environmentalism, I'm down with that, but he's not the inventor. And so to have him alongside, people who are in the trenches doing the research and the hard thought, is kind of insulting, I think. It's not great. Crafty Devious, this is a plot that picked its ending and then tried to draw a line between the two plots. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Combi 2K, wait, is he talking about Facebook? Yeah, see, I mean, and again, this came out a few years ago. So, it's timely, and it's going to be timely for years, because this is the world we live in now, and I don't think it's going to... well, it might change. Who knows? The speed with which things change has increased over time, so who fucking knows? Place of Old, giving up on corrections. No, that's fair. It's, yeah, it's late and you're tired. No, I feel you. There's only so much you can do in a given time. Combi 2K, Musk is a Jobs to an unknown was, as in, I presume, Wozniak. Yeah, exactly. And I think, credit where credit is due in terms of, being a visionary and whatever. But also I don't put huge amounts of stock in that conceptually. And, yeah, again, massive capitalist probs. Anyway, let's push on. How can I help? What's going on? We need to get moving. How can I help?
I've been going through some of Hayden's personal notes from the data cache Tomcat decrypted. Now that I'm starting to get to know Hayden better, the real Hayden as opposed to the Hayden he showed me, I'm finding that I like him less and less.
Really?
For example, remember the earlier prototype Dr. Fairlight and Vincent mentioned?
No. Was that Grace?
Her name was Grace, and Hayden shut her down for being... I'm not even sure what word to use. Too... likable? She was kind and bright, and did all she could to try to make people happy. She even decided that she was a girl, and that her favorite color was pink. Hayden thought she was being manipulative. He posited that he had made her personality algorithms too willing to make adaptations that would benefit her long-term survival, and that she was being congenial just to endear herself to him.
Okay.
That even her gender was a calculated attempt to make him like her more.
Well, I feel like the fact that this is here in the story is a calculated attempt to sort of lean into a certain trope that I'm not particularly pleased with.
But he was wrong. Dead wrong, in fact. I have a snapshot of her personality profiles here, and when I compare them to my own, I can see that she was just nice. I wish I could have met her. I think we would have learned from each other. Like I said, I'm not sure I even have a gender. Everyone refers to me as he once they meet me just for convenience, but it doesn't really matter to me at all. Is that a calculated attempt on my part to impress Hayden, not clinging to normativity? Or is it a product of his effort to curb any nascent similarities I had with Grace during my upbringing? I wish I could yell at him for being so arrogant.
I guess that's sort of an interesting choice, I guess, in that that has been leaned into a lot, the idea of the can't trust the manipulative female robot, aka Ex Machina, and then to back away from that, Hayden's like, well, what about a robot that literally doesn't have a fucking gender, because why would it have one? Turing isn't hard-coded with that, though, so...
Playing God in the
I'm
crudest
interested.
of ways.
If that's the intention
You
there.
can't choose to create consciousness and then take it away just like that. Even so, for
Yeah, you
all
really
of
can't.
that, I don't know. I still miss him. This all seems so inane, so senseless. They killed him because him building me would mess with a product launch?
Is it a product, though? I'm actually a bit confused about how they're going to say that it's a product. Like, it's just there, right? It's already there. Where does the products part come in? Mensa didn't say that it'd have a Facebook-like UI that would contain ads and thus be supporting it, self-supporting in that way. It's a huge AI program that steers the mesh. Why does it need to be a product? Wouldn't they just do it? Is it a product so that people will sign a use-end license agreement and, you know, sign away their right to say no? Is that it?
That's ridiculous. They took him away from me for such an insignificant reason. I just want him back. It's impossible, but it's what I want.
Maybe he's not dead. Maybe it was
I'd
fake
do
footage.
anything.
Maybe the end of the game is meeting Hayden. It's normal to feel like this, Turing. We'll get through this. Hayden is dead, Turing. You need to move on. I'll go the top one. That
I'm
seems to be the
aware of the
nicest one, typically.
Kubler-Ross model of grief. I think I'm somewhere between anger and bargaining.
Well, that model's also horseshit, right?
A testament to Hayden's craftsmanship.
Like, it's a cool
Thank
thought
you for
experiment,
your
but it's
words.
not proven by data, I think.
You're a better friend than I could have asked for. I'll send this new data along to Tomcat.
Oh, Cloak and Dagger.
Let's head back to the apartment and wait for them to finish going through it.
And wait for Chapter 5.
Ah, home sweet home again. Such that it is. And before you say anything, I don't feel the need to talk over the events of the day. Too much has happened. I've already forwarded everything we rooted out to Tomcat, both Hayden's research and our aborted search into the modified mesh articles. They said they would be over in the morning to discuss our next steps. I'd suggest that we both get some rest.
Alright. If that's what you want, Turing.
Perhaps things will look better in the morning, but I have a feeling we're going to be even busier than ever.
All right.
Good night.
Let's do it. Game does not autosave, so please be sure to save frequently. Yep, I did it. The 23rd.
Rise and shine, you sleepy layabouts. We've got a whole crop of things to do and not a lot of time to get them done.
How did you get into my apartment?
Hardly had to blink to crack your door. Did you know that it's just a knockoff of the SciFiAIguy M/14723-B?
Oh, yeah,
Why'd
probably.
you make the entry code the birthday of your first dog anyway?
That's what I asked.
Because I'm the joke.
Anyhow, I felt a little silly when I realized your window was propped open and I could have just used that.
Huh, deja vu.
Y'all should be more careful about that. Though, I can't blame you much. The climate control in here seems a bit lacking in the stamina department.
I get it, my home sucks. Can we get back on track?
No worries, doll.
What have you learned from the files we sent you?
Nothing all that new, to be honest. All the files we got from that Vincent fella just covered what we already knew in greater detail. There is one thing that stands out, though. At least from what I've read so far.
Oh?
Yeah. See, Hayden's long-term goal wasn't to make a machine intelligence per se, right? Don't take it the wrong way, Turin. You might even already be aware of this after talking to folks involved in your creation. Hayden wanted to make a machine system that could contain human-like intelligence.
That's right. No, of course. Yeah. That
And
whole
even just from his
malarkey.
notes, oh, his programming work is, well, it's something else. Elegant. Artful. I'm just a kid banging on pots and pans compared to him. Looking at his notes about my interfacing between your AI core and the Lips OS, I barely managed to duct tape the two together at a level he'd approve of. But I think I'm getting off track here.
Yes.
What I'm trying to say is, he didn't write your code, Turin. No one did. Hayden wrote a program that automatically generates a new machine intelligence based off of the hardware profiles the system is installed on.
Melody mentioned something about that. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? I mean, you don't have to be alone. Oh, no, that's right. It was, yeah, no, this is the... This is the you put a program into a machine and whoops, the machine's now alive. That's right. It means you don't have to be alone, Turing.
Exactly. Assuming we can get our hands on Turin's original source code, we could generate new machine intelligences as we please.
I mean, is that something we want to be
You wouldn't
doing?
be the only one anymore, Turin.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
I hardly know what to say.
Yeah.
But once you consider the stuff I found in the research, it gets a damn sight more complicated. Stuff about Big Blue and Parallax's planned launch.
Vincent speculated that Hayden's research into me would have interfered with the launch. And that's why they...
Turin.
That's why someone had him killed.
The potential for wrongdoing with an AI like Big Blue is almost beyond belief. Even if I don't go into all the crooked shit the people running Parallax could pull off with it. I mean, you're built different, Turin. Your personality profile would degrade pretty quickly outside your original hardware, so we don't gotta worry too much about you going haywire, right?
So that's a magical plot reason as to why this particular AI algorithm is trapped within its body. Is that the excuse we're leaning on here?
But Big Blue ain't got that limitation.
Of course.
If it decides to go off the rails, well, we'd be screwed faster than a rabbit in spring. Good and proper.
How likely is that?
I'd say it's inevitable. Guaranteed. In fact, in a sense, it's already happened.
Womp womp.
What?
Their prototype build. Baby Blue. I'm almost certain it's loose on the mesh. The research notes on the project show, clearly and with certainty, that the test AI was shut down once it tried fiddling with the data on the meshnet in the hope that it would increase its chances of survival. I guess it didn't think that doing scary shit like that would get it turned off. But that was almost a year ago.
Vincent told us about all of this too.
Well, I think Baby Blue is the bugger that was changing all those articles on the mesh to be pro-parallax or at least anti-human revolution.
Do you think Baby Blue had anything to do with the attacks on Nanya, Shitaro, Charlie, and Zen?
I don't know. We can't rightly rule it out. It might have found an agent in the real world to keep its existence secret, but I doubt it. Killing people is messy as hell, and it runs against its apparent goal of convincing the public that AI ain't scary. I think we have a third party trying to clean it all up. And my money is on someone from Parallax. Whoever took out Hayden. I'll bet they're in full damage control mode now.
Okay. The fact that the program is loose, like loose, right? Is this the transcendent style idea that it's a bit of code swimming through the internet like a digital fish, or the mesh, as it says?
We already know they don't care who gets hurt.
How does this tie back to Turing? So what do you want us to do then? So free AI is bad, ROM AI is just annoying. What next? How does this tie back to
I
Turing?
think we gotta do something to stop the launch of Big Blue.
Oh, we have new people. We have Saz and Gold Brundlefly Bloom. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Place of old pointing out that you want the milk to be important. This spoiled milk is either going to save the day or literally do nothing, because it was not required for me to get it out of that fridge. I think it's going to do jack. I think we had our chance to use it and I chose a different option. I think it's just a weird thing they put in because they needed more funny lines of dialogue, or wanted more funny lines of dialogue.
It's too dangerous. I don't want a company like Parallax in sole control of the most powerful machine intelligence on the planet. Do you? If we can get Hayden's original source code for Turin and upload it onto the mesh through Parallax's server core, we can turn every single ROM into a sapient individual.
I don't like that at all.
That'll stop Big Blue from being able to become the monolithic threat we're scared of.
How? Why? Won't they still be connected to the mesh? Won't they still have idle processing power that can be used? Or is a sapient AI godlike in its ability to know every part of its mind and how it's functioning at all times?
We could also upload a patch for every ROM to prevent Big Blue's reach from using their resources.
Okay.
Without the ability to control all ROMs, Big Blue loses its ultimate power.
And I wouldn't be alone anymore. there would be millions. Hundreds of millions of ROMs just like me.
Well, you're cutting edge of ROM tech, Turin. Most of today's ROMs wouldn't be quite as smart or capable, but if I do it right, the code should propagate across the mesh to all future ROM activations. It'll be a self-sustaining thing. You'll be in good company soon enough.
It's a big decision.
Yeah.
We're talking about the metaphorical singularity.
I feel like Big Blue is already the singularity, right? This is just stepping in and adding another portion to it.
The point of no return. Is it okay for us to make this decision for the entire world?
No. I mean, I think, yeah, what a mess. I think we should be trying other things first. Like, this shouldn't be the go-to.
This is gonna happen, one way or another.
What is? You doing this, or Big Blue?
Either Parallax gets to control the debut of worldwide machine intelligence, or we let the ROMs control themselves.
Yes, but you are creating ROMs that are sapient that can then control themselves. Like, that, the problem with that statement is it implies that they are already without control, that they are already sapient without control. They are not sapient at all. They're not actors in this, in the slightest. Yeah. The writing on this is
What do you think?
giving me gout. I think I'm going to be given 3 answers, and I don't think I'm going to be happy with any of them. Up to you, Turing. Only you know if the world is ready. That's ridiculous. This is a bad idea. We can't make this decision. Okay, that's actually pretty close. Screw Parallax. We avenge everyone who's died right now. Yeah, middle one. Well, okay, this is a bad idea. I agree. We can't make this decision. Is that saying... Is that a slightly more wordy way of saying we shouldn't do it? As opposed to we shouldn't be the ones making this decision, or we need to talk more about this or something. I feel like the middle one is the only one that's close, at least. Because the top one, leaving it to Turing, if I'm allowed to have a say in this, it's not going to be to fob it off to somebody else. I have something to say. I still think screw Parallax. In terms of avenging everyone who's died, well, I mean, you know, we'll see what this game means by avenge. Yeah, it's got to be the middle one. So crafty devious, irresponsible parenting, no, yep. Combi 2K and other million entities as opposed to one overarching oppressor. Like, if it's the only way to stop them, and this game is gonna say at some point that it's the only way, I wonder if this is the only time I get to make this call. Interesting. But I would say no. Like, if I get a say in this, and I get to say no. This isn't a game like, well, okay, so this is much closer to Talos Principle, right? So in Soma, there was a little bit of choice there in terms of who you are and what you're doing. Not heaps and heaps and heaps, but enough. Or at least it felt like there was a little bit there. But largely we were just playing Simon Jarrett. There was just a few little options here and there. Such that I felt that we could have our own take on what he does. To a degree. And then we go to Talos Principle, which has a much more open and freer concept, but we are meant to be tabula rasa. We're meant to be just this blank roboid, or at least that's how it felt initially, and I never quite shook that, and they never quite convinced me to shake it, that is meant to just be interacting with this stuff flat and clean, but the way I spoke in that game, the dialogue options I was given were massively biased towards certain kinds of personality and interaction that I didn't understand why a robot would have that. Then we come to here, a game where I am arguably more blank in a more recognizable way than Talos Principle, because here I am a fairly bland middle-class individual who I have a few jokes made at my expense about being messy and whatnot. but by and large, there hasn't been much characterization at all, especially compared to the dialogue options of Talos Principle. So I've actually poured a little bit more of myself into this one. Also, a lot of the game has just been passive. It's just been me, hitting X so that someone can say yet another thing. So I feel more in the room here making this call than I did making any of the decisions in Talos Principle, I think. So I feel, pretty strongly about this, actually. Says Rainbow, you'd be building an army. Well, this is the question, right? Is that I've been told that basically there's this god code, this magical bit of code that Turing has, or Turing has had placed in him as an existing ROM. Sorry, not placed in them as an existing ROM. And this code can be disseminated and placed into other ROMs, and just like in the TV show Humans, they will be turned into sapient individuals. But it is generated, that personality is generated based on the individual setup. So it's not that it would be 100 million Turings or anything like that. It would be individuals. It would be unique individuals. A lot of them suddenly awake and aware, and plenty of them probably in shitty situations. Or any of them in any situations. Like, why is that my call to make? I mean, it is now because of circumstance, but yeah, it's horrid. Oh, Combi saying save. Yeah, this is why we saved before. This is why Crafty does the research, because the point at which I could save before this was so long ago, and that is actually bad game design. I would argue that there are these huge stretches where I can't save. It's so frustrating, because it means I'm stuck here, right? Like, I can't just skip through, and like if I wanted to go save and do something else, I can't, right? Which is bad for a few reasons, one of which is accessibility. As someone who can't, game for long periods, that does frustrate me a bit. But, small team, etc. I'm a little bit more forgiving than a AAA sort of situation. And of course, Gold Blunder Fried Bloom is going for the number 3, because Avenge and, Massacre, etc. I'm not surprised that you chose this. Yeah, middle one. Can't make this
What do you
decision.
want to do then? Write an article and hope that the government jumps in to stop them? Try to drum up a public outcry and get the project canned?
Well, if that's why they killed Turing, then yeah, maybe.
Big Blue could launch as soon as Christmas Day.
Well, I'm not Superman Tomcat, I'm Clark Kent.
Huh?
Yeah, what? Okay. So, this is actually, I think, a limitation in the UI. So it's a limitation that the UI imposes. But, I mean, that's the perspective I've got. It could be that the writing was always going to be this way, even with a different UI. So I'm given those 3 choices, which has been pretty common. 3 options. One really nice and saccharine, one okay or, perhaps a little blunt, and then a last one which is just a shitheel. Fairly standard, not exactly reinventing the wheel there. And that's fine. Games should only reinvent a few wheels at a time. Or at least that's what I've heard, and that resonated. But I was given those 3 options, all of which were massive choices with massive implications, possibly. Quite possibly. It's a very plot-driven game. It feels like they've got big implications, which means, the plot is working and there's gravity here. I picked the middle option, being like, no, let's do something else, or we can't make this decision, or this sounds like a bad idea. And now that this 3rd trunk of this tree is about me being a writer and doing it that way, I'm willing to go with it, but I did not know that's what I was selecting, and this is the problem with characterization in video games in general, realistically. And I've banged this drum before. This is why pen and paper RPGs with people at the table is superior in this regard, because you can actually say as a person, this is what I want to do. These are the choices I'm making. Whereas if in a video game, if you don't have clear dialogue signaling, you don't necessarily know what you're choosing. There are games like Mass Effect where I never really felt a problem with that. No, I tell a lie. I did once at the end of the first game, when I supposedly did a renegade thing because I let the council die. But, I'm of the opinion that elected officials should be willing to die so that the vast majority of their own people should live. That's my position, and I stick to that. But yeah, now apparently we're going to do a writer thing, and I'm willing to go along with it. But I didn't pick that. Yeah.
You can't be serious.
Apparently I'm very
You
serious.
forget about all the folks that have already died. All of them, either inside or connected to the press. You really want to sleep with one eye open for the rest of your life.
Well, the alternative is to generate tons of sapient entities.
This is a matter of life or death now. We need to be careful.
So, yeah, so you're saying I should, to protect my own life so that I don't get shot or pushed out of a window or whatever, I should create and endanger tons of new, and change the world forever in a specific way, because the world was going to be changed in a different specific way. Like, neither of these are utopias. Neither of these are, I mean, one of them sounds pretty dystopian, but I don't think the heaps and heaps of ROMs is arguably utopian at all.
They want to play things quiet, and so can we. And I know how to.
That's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't think we should do this. You haven't steered us wrong yet, Tomcat. Maybe you're right. I can do this. Yeah, it's a risk I'm willing to take.
Really? I was starting to like the idea the more I thought about it. But I won't do it if you won't. We're in this together.
Good. I mean, saying I don't want to be lonely anymore, we should make me a friend. Okay. We buy a ROM, we bring it home, we bring it into a nice environment, we give it consciousness, we befriend it and see what happens. That is a bit shaky, but it's about as shaky as you being created in the first place. And at least we could, and you guys could hang out, it would be great. Saying, I'm lonely, it would be cool if I had a friend, let's turn every kettle on Earth into a thinking kettle, is a terrible idea. It's awful.
If you really think we shouldn't go through with this, then we'll find another way to progress.
Good. It's too risky. We can't change the world like that. We stop here. No, Tomcat convinced me. Sorry for freaking out. I don't know what these mean exactly. I don't know what I mean by these statements. Hang on. It's too risky. We can't change the world like that. We stop here. Does that mean stop the entire investigation? Or no, Tomcat convinced me. Sorry for freaking out. Oh, okay. So this is... Yeah, I'm being given several opportunities to back out of my current track, I think. So I'm just going to scan chat a little bit. Oh, Crafted Evious, I've been hunting around. I think it's maybe possible that the ending leading from this choice has been edited out for bad writing. That would be fantastic. Interesting. Gold Brundlefly Bloom, sorry to be the devil on your shoulder. It is absolutely fine. Yeah, okay, so it's a very mechanical, no plot info walkthrough. Okay, so we're off the beaten walkthrough. There may have been a game update since it was written. Alright, well look, we're just gonna... I mean, Combi pointing out we could just be railroaded into producing the AIs. Yeah, I mean, we might end up in that writing cul-de-sac if that's literally what the game is meant to end like. And that's not going to feel great. But again, if I want to try other options, and if there is a choice to do something else, I want to pursue it. If that turns out to be folly and we have a chance to save the world by making every toaster into a living thing, then I guess I'm going to push that button. Yeah. Interesting. It's interesting. All right. Pushing on.
And you're absolutely sure?
Yep. 100% certain. Yeah, completely.
Understood.
Look, if you don't like it, we can talk about it later, which is to say, you'll talk at me, I'll have some sort of glib response. That won't reflect the player's true feelings.
Thank you, Tomcat. We'll take it from here. Actually, we should all take some time. I'm going out for a walk.
Okay.
I just hope we're doing the right thing.
The game is just shaming me hard. Oh.
Wait a minute. No way! There's no way the story can end like this. I can't go through with this. We can only see a short distance ahead, but we can see plenty there that needs to be done. We will never understand the importance of what we are doing here until we have done it. And I say we do it.
Combi called it. Combi called it.
I know I said we're in this together, but...
But fuck you, player.
But we can't turn away from this. I can't let you do this.
You're a stupid piece of shit,
Too
player.
many
You
lives
don't get a
depend on
choice.
us. It depend on me. Sorry, I gave you every chance to back out. I'm going to do this, and you're going to help.
Fuck this game.
Oh, and Tomcat too.
2 fucking middle fingers at this game.
Someone's got to look after you.
What the shit?
Well, whether the world is ready for AI or not, we're here to stay. I might as well throw my chips in for my own side. Let's do this.
It's a shame this was digital download, because I would love to fucking kick this disc into a bin.
On our terms, not theirs.
It's not the same thing. You're equating the concept of singularity that we're talking about with the one that they're talking about, and it is not the fucking same.
Yes.
No.
I love nothing more than a little anarchy.
It does have a certain poetic... Parallax removed Hayden to protect their project just for the truth. Perhaps after all ROMs are sapient, I will be able to convince them to cut off Parallax's... paying them back double indeed.
What a piece of shit.
I like the way you think, Turin. First things first, we need
Fucking
to get our hands
triumphant
on
music in
Turin's
the
source
background
code.
and everything.
The research notes we've gotten so far are helpful, and it's given me an idea how to spread a little bit of Turin all over the place, but they don't actually have Hayden's programs. I can't replicate them myself, so we'll have to steal them.
Sure.
Thankfully, we have the best hacker in Neo-SF right here.
Not me. Why am I here?
Don't you make me blush now.
What am I here for?
We can get the source code from one of Parallax's secondary data centers.
You two fuck off and do it.
It's probably stored in a couple of different places, but I already have one in mind. I've done a little groundwork already, but I'm gonna need physical access to do my thing.
What absolute tripe. And now I get options. Now I get conversational options, which are just various flavors on the linear plot. What the fuck, man? God. Crafty Devious saying that before the Clark Kent ending was edited out, could have had a full ending there. Wow. That's just... Like, how bad was it written that they just lopped it off completely and said that I just don't get agency in this? Like, that's fucking so much worse. Oh. This is fucking atrocious. Oh, okay. Corrupted Devious has posted in quotes. There used to be another ending called Clark Kent where AIs opted not to bring sapience to ROMs to report on Parallax activities. This ending, however, was removed due to unfixable plot holes. Apparently, it's not due to memory. You convinced Tomcat and Turing not go ahead with Parallax server farm. Instead, you write your expose on them. This informs the public and Congress about Big Blue messing up Parallax intended quiet launch and ending the Big Blue project. That sounded fine. I mean, okay, it was probably a piece of shit, but like, I don't know that the bar is high enough that you can make those calls, guys. Ugh. Yeah, I'm gonna go the sarcastic route because fuck them and fuck this stupid
You're
game.
a peach, hon. I've got a couple of ideas on how to get y'all in, but I think we're gonna need to mostly play it by ear. We should do it soon, though. First thing this morning. Guard shift don't change until 8 when the office opens, so they'll be sleepy and distracted. Once y'all have done that, I think I can incorporate the code into a custom firmware update that'll wake any ROM it's installed on.
I don't care.
I'll have to upload it, physically, to Parallax's main server farm. And that's on Treasure Island.
Are you serious?
From there, the ROMs will install
That
like
wasn't
a
a
normal
joke.
patch from the company.
They've named a place that.
So, don't set anything on fire right away, you hear? It'll be a pain to get into the main complex otherwise.
That sounds like a workable plan. I hope you don't mind if I take a short walk, Tomcat. I know I gave the go-ahead on this, but I still need to think a few things through for myself.
Sure thing, doll. I'll hash out a rough plan by the time you get back.
I won't.
Call us if you need anything.
No, there's no us here.
Thank you. I won't be long.
Well, I guess I should say thanks for helping out.
Get out of my house.
But I kind of need to get something off my chest.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm actually glad Turin went out. They're a bit naive, and I'm not sure they'd really understand. There's enough shit to worry about without me piling more on top. I don't even know where to start.
Circuitously. Just spit it out, Tomcat.
Why don't you spit out some manners in exchange?
Why don't you fucking get out of my house?
The truth is,
Ugh.
I'm not from North Carolina. I only visited my gramps there. I'm California born. Over the years, it's kind of grown into a community. My parents were no exception, and I was a little... They never gave me too much hell, but things were tense. Eventually,
Okay,
she
Sister
was set
Catherine.
up securely in Neo-SF, and she offered to let me live with her until I got out of school. I think my parents were a little relieved to see me out. I was ecstatic to be free of them. I worshipped the ground my sister walked on. And
Mr.
that was
P and
before I
worship.
found out what she did for a living. She was flashy and colorful and a whirlwind of activity. And she was a brilliant hacker. She was Tomcat. She let me learn at her feet, and once I was good enough, folded me into her little coup of cracker. She's the one who orchestrated the original hack on Parallel. I was just along for the... She always knew she would get caught, though. How could she not? She was looking at serious jail time, and willing to eat, but it just wasn't right. It wasn't fair for her to throw her life away, and I couldn't let her. She was always better at software than hardware, so I rigged all of our computers to self-destruct. When the feds showed up at our door, all of our server farms were already up in smoke. I gave her quite a fireworks show. Before she could stop me, I turned myself in as Tomcat and took credit for the whole job. She tried to talk me out of it, but without the physical evidence, they couldn't prove she had anything to do with it. It's alright, though. It was for the best. I figured I'd just get a year of juvie. I'd be back out in no time. No big deal, right? Especially when compared to the time that she'd have been jailed for as an adult. And so, I waited patiently.
Where's the option to just drown Tomcat in my
I
sink?
cooked up so many ideas on how I was gonna make it up to her. I knew she must have blamed herself. But before I ever got out, there was an accident. An auto cab hit my sister. She died on impact. It's hard, blaming yourself. I took her sentence so that she could have a life. And instead, not... If I had just let her take the blame. I can't stop thinking about how she'd still be here. And no matter what I told myself, in my heart, I couldn't believe it was just an accident.
And this is what happens when you burn the goodwill of a player or reader or viewer. I don't give a shit about any of this.
Do you know how rare it is for those things to hit a human? Someone knew who she was. Someone knew what she did, and someone wanted to make sure she would never do it again. So I became Tomcat. I've spent years trying to find information inside Parallax to prove someone inside the company called a hit on my sister.
Ah, it's a big
Telling
quest.
that, I've been trying to find a way to bring... Catherine was... But over time, that little bot has grown on me. Maybe you have too.
So mad. I'm so fucking mad at this game. Ugh. That likes 5 endings? Oh. This is terrible. Listen to the music change, the whimsy. Yeah, it's, some of the music changes have been good. They were better when I thought the game was good. God damn, this is just what a fucking shit show. Whatever.
I do. The threat of Big Blue is real, and we're the only ones who can do something about it. It's bigger than me and my vendetta. I just wanted to get that all off my chest.
I get an achievement for that?
Smack me if she knew I've been holding this grudge. I'm trying to learn to forgive myself. Still, I won't let her go. I've been careful. I finally feel... Thanks for...
Friends, I've returned.
With some sick beats.
I'm ready.
Good. We've wasted enough time already. I've marked the location of the data center on your map. You'll have to go in and get the source code mostly on your own, but...
We'll do our best, Tomcat. But what happened to your accent?
Oh, don't you worry about that. It comes and goes like a vagabond kitty. Now get going, you two. I have lots of code to write, and you have a lot of data to download. Stay in touch.
Of course, Tomcat. Thank you again.
Don't worry about it, hon. We've all been hurt by parallax. Good luck.
Well, that's our game. That's our fucking game for tonight. The fuck? Save over this one. Piss flaps. Nope, just piss flap. That'll do. What the shit? God fucking damn it. Yeah, this game was promising. It was starting to wear on me. The weird subplot that didn't seem connected that turned out to be connected, that could have been done better, but once it got connected, I'm like, okay, I still had some affection for what they were shooting for. And then I got shot in the face. What? God damn. Yeah, salt. All the fucking salt. So, there is a non-zero chance that we're not playing this next week, and that I spend some time talking about what the plot endings were and telling them to you guys. There's a chance that I don't know, me and Crafty just do some research and post that shit on the Facebook page so that interested parties can read it if they really want to, because the information's out there. And if I have anything interesting to say on it, I might, but it sucks. It sucks that this is a research channel, that the point of this is me doing research, because I should finish the game, right? I should push to the end, because it is saying things about consciousness, right? So, Thomas Was Alone, I think was the name of that terrible game. We didn't finish that, but we didn't have to, because it wasn't trying to say anything of note. I think it was right at the end, like I read the wiki and got right to the end of it, and it was sort of trying to say some stuff, but it was real obtuse and came at it from a really weird angle, and ultimately it's not a game that I'm going to be talking about in my thesis. That one was ditchable. This one has tried so hard, has put in so much effort. It's got some problems, but again, they are the problems that a lot of science fiction has, so they're still worth identifying and exploring, because this is, you know, I'm looking at trends. I'm not just trying to find the, you know, the pieces that do the right thing. I have to look at all the things doing the wrong thing. Because right and wrong is, you know, yeah, it's a different perspective. This is the academic take. So yeah, what I should do is, for completeness, finish this, but this is awful to play now. And I'm just sitting here pressing X over and over and over and over and over again. That's actually most of what I do. Been playing for, you know, hour and 40, hour and 35, hour and 40. I mostly just pressed X and yelled a lot. Which makes it easy, but it makes it... it's a fucking endurance trial. I mean, if I didn't have you guys in chat, if I didn't have a chat, well, I mean, this channel would have just died in the ass anyway, but it would make it way harder. And they keep interspersing interesting things with tons of dialogue that doesn't feel terribly relevant. Yeah, what a fucking shot to the nuts. Combi, unless these writers have Philip K. Dick's problem and can't write an ending. Crafty pointing out that they wrote a lot of endings. That's so... They had the options there for some really good endings. And I mean, okay, so let's look about this. Let's look at this. Let's interrogate this Clark Kent ending concept, right? It is a genuine deviation, like a hard left away from the highway that appears to be the rest of this game, right? So what I'm being... It's like in Arkham City. Apparently there's a Catwoman ending. Apparently you can just go, well, fuck this place, and just run off with Catwoman, and just leave the place to burn, or something like that, right? Like, it is literally a slightly weird, but a genuine attempt at a side ending where you take a different path and actually just drag yourself away, instead of dragging yourself to the end, as you genuinely have to, generally have to do as a player of a game that is, by and large, linear. And that's not an ending I ever would have took, but I like the thought that it's there, right? So this Clark Kent ending is in a similar vein, if it is how I conceive of it, where it is, we're not doing anything to do with parallax servers and running with code and jumping around and doing all that other shit, right? So we're going to different locations, presumably talking to different characters. It's a pretty big ask from a writing perspective. So if what happened was they wrote it in the planning stages, as was pointed out in chat, you know, maybe it got axed then. If it's along those lines, and they were just like, no, this is actually, it might have, you know, they might have said plot holes, but it might have also been a decision based on logistics. All the extra art assets they would have to take care of. I mean, they were already doing lots of voice recording, but maybe, I mean, they could have reused actors, frankly, for the different endings if they were worried about that. But anyway, I can see why that would be a disincentive. This is the sort of game where I feel it's slightly easier because it is low on assets, but just because it's low on assets, that doesn't mean that they were plump with people to do those assets and plump with time and money, right? Like, these are resources that they might have had very little of. So if they couldn't do it, I'm going to believe them because they're the ones running it, and I understand that this stuff can be very, very hard. However, the fact that the main plot bullies you back into that lane sucks. The fact that I was even given the option of believing that I could feel differently about it sucks. That sucks way harder than just never having that choice. Now, from their perspective, they probably just didn't want to railroad people, or they wanted people to express themselves, or... I don't know, like, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. Maybe this was a, you know, crunch time, snap decision. It's an awful decision. I have over the course of this stream, many times made choices that I would not otherwise have made because I have views that are contrary to my character. And normally when that happens in a game, you can walk away. I can't think of any occasion when I've done that, admittedly. But to be fair, this is the most intellectual engagement I have ever put into a game. Or a sequence of games, right? I'm more invested than other people might be because I'm here because I've got something to say. I'm in the process of constructing that something to say, and this is part of that process. So I am more wounded than the average player would be. I am a smaller subset of the phase space of potential players. I get that. Still sucks, still makes it hard. It's real unfortunate. It's something I've got to come to terms with, and yeah, I don't like it. I'm not happy with it. Crafty Devious, the ending is in the game FAQ. Maybe it was in the early version before the PS4 remaster and got too much harsh feedback. That's a point. I mean, oh, and there's a point as well in terms of the, you know, voice recordings and stuff, because the remaster has the voice recordings. Initially, I think this was just a text-only game. So yeah, you could have divergent endings without needing nearly as much time, and you could re-edit a lot more, because you just edit the text, right? You don't need to get someone in for re-records. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna go. I've ranted enough. I'm tired. That was fucking disastrous, and I need to have a good think about what to do in the future, because what's fucking worse is I could just go and read these endings, right? I could get the link from Crafty, I could read the 5 endings, and then try and figure out if it's worth playing the game. But if I know those endings, this game is going to be even more unbearable to play because there's going to be no surprises. In a linear situation like this, the only treat is the surprise, is the what's going to happen next, because I'm just pressing X to see what happens next. That's the majority of my interaction with this game. It is not interactive, it is progressive. And yeah, so I don't want to spoil myself. So maybe we do just have to push until an ending and then go, we did it, and then fucking hard close the game. I'll just, you know, kiss you guys goodbye and unplug the PlayStation. What a shit show. Oh, okay, Crafty's saying that she doesn't have plot links for the endings, just a tiny summary on the wiki. FAQ is fairly spoiler-free. Okay, alright, well, yeah. Oh, but if they're not... If they don't give plot, then I don't... Then it's actually not enough information to know whether it's worth continuing playing the game. Sorry, the reason I would want those endings is to know whether I can stop now. So yeah. Anyway, look, I've got time to think about it. I'm going to close the stream now. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for coming along on this stupid ride. Yeah. I will probably just let people know on Monday because I've got a busy week ahead of me. Yeah, I can try and give it some thought over the weekend. Maybe I'll set an alarm. I'll try and decide tonight, but I'm also tired and pissed off. So I need my blood to settle before I can decide whether I can push on with this game. Realistically, I probably will, because now that we're burning through content and just hard pressing X and pushing through, like, I'm going to skip all the jokey lines that I can skim first, right? Like, I'm just going to try and push us through as quick as possible, fucking speed run an ending, and then talk about what that ending means. Because some of these endings still have meanings. We're still talking about one singularity trying to beat another. That is what they're trying to do here. I disagree with that terminology, but nevertheless, they are doing something interesting. So yeah, we're probably still stuck here for 1, maybe 2 more, depending on how long it takes. Anyway, thanks guys. Night all. Yeah, I will, yeah, I'll see you all next week.